He may be the most controversial artist in country music right now. He may also be the most popular artist in country music right now. Those two things are definitely correlated. How does an artist go through multiple controversies only to see their career go meteoric? And at what point does the audience draw the line with how far an artist can go before you can't separate their lives from their art? For some, it's never. Art is simply a product of an uncountable number of biases, experiences, and emotions that can't be destroyed by individual actions. For some, their moral boundaries stop them from enjoying anything put out by anyone who can't seem to stay on the straight and narrow. It's time we find out why and when an artist seems to go too far. Hey everybody, you're watching Playing for Cats, a channel dedicated to helping animals in need get the help they need. If you want to support the cause, hit the like and subscribe button, then check out the links in my channel to see how you can financially assist nonprofits helping these animals. You can't escape Morgan Wallen's music. If you go to any small town establishment or college town bar, you will hear at least a few of his songs. Whether you like it or not, Morgan Wallen has become a household name in modern country culture. His impact on Nashville's music scene has become absolutely massive. Wallen grew up in the smallest of small towns. Per the 2020 census, it barely cracked 1,000 citizens. His father was a pastor, and his mother was a teacher, and his exposure to music came in the form of piano lessons and classic rock. So it's already shaping up to be a great country music career. When he got into his teens, his family moved to a much larger city of Knoxville. This branched his musical awareness to other genres like heavier rock and hip hop. And there, he attempted to make a career out of baseball until he tore a ligament in his senior year. This injury set his entire life off track. While he was drifting around for high school, he decided to give music one more shot. This shot came in the form of an audition for The Voice. If you don't know, The Voice is a hit TV show similar to that of America's Got Talent or American Idol, where musicians compete through a series of challenges based on judge and audience scores. Wallen's mom just happened to sign him up because at the time, Morgan didn't even know what The Voice was. And when he got there, he wanted to perform country songs, but the people on the show pushed him in the pop direction. He had some success on the show, being praised for his stylistic choices. He was picked by Usher of all people to move forward. And after losing a round a few episodes in, he was picked up by Adam Levine. He ended up finishing in the top 20 that season, and while it wasn't optimal, the experience brought him a lot of opportunities. He moved to Nashville to further his career, just like so many other country artists. He started a small band with a vocal coach from The Voice, but that didn't lead anywhere. This experience did lead him to his next stepping stone, an EP released through a small label. This EP, while unheard for most of his fans like me, did end up going gold, so it's not a bad start for a small artist. His manager noticed the small-time success and pushed him towards a larger label. The audition went well, and they signed him right away, hoping to pair him with other artists to branch out of his style. The Way I Talk, his first single, was released in 2017. After collaborating with some big-time artists, Florida Georgia Line offered for Wallen to go on tour with them. This collaboration brought up Up Down, which was his first to reach the top 5 on the country charts. Around this time, Wallen really started to find his footing in the music scene. He adopted a much more stylized approach to his appearance. He grew out his mullet, broke out the denim, and shaved his facial hair to a mustache. This unique, yet common to small-towners look set Morgan apart from other cleaner artists. He looks like someone you run to a local Dollar General, not a Luke Bryan or a Josh Turner. He then released his first studio album. While it feels like he's been around forever, this only came out in 2018. This next single, Whiskey Glasses, went on to define his career from this point. It went number 1 on almost every country chart. This sad boy, lost and found, pop-induced steel guitar sound really put him on a pedestal. The Florida Georgia Line tour was a success, and Morgan's growth skyrocketed. Chasing You was his next big song, which went to the top 20 on the Billboard charts. This album, If I Know Me, only hit number 1 on the country charts 114 weeks after its release in 2020. This is where the controversies really start. At this point in time, the pandemic breaks out. Opinions are split on how to handle it and what to do next. Essentially, the entire country shuts down for a few weeks. With knowledge of the virus still very limited, most folks chose to stay inside due to safety. If you were living in the South, this is probably not the case. With a growing sense of distrust in governments, both state and federal, there was a sense of rebelliousness by not going out when you're supposed to. Morgan Wallen was not immune to this temptation. In May of 2020, he's arrested outside of a bar for disorderly conduct. But honestly, getting drunk and rowdy is pretty typical for country folks, so it's not really any news. However, things really started to heat up in October, in the middle of college football season. Following an Alabama win, he's caught on video partying at a Tuscaloosa bar. In the videos, he's interacting a little too close for most people's comfort at the time. He broke just about every social distancing guideline possible. This probably wouldn't be a big deal if he wasn't going to perform on Saturday Night Live the following week. With nothing to do but quarantine, celebrity livelihoods become more popular with common people than ever. With a public opinion weighing on their conscience, SNL chose to postpone Wallen's performance. He went on a few months later with a parody of the controversy, so in total, no real damage was done. In the following month, he released a double album. Dangerous turns out to be the most successful project maybe in country history. It stayed on top of the Billboard charts in both the United States and Canada for 6 and 4 weeks respectively. All of the singles off this record were hits on the radio. 7 Summers ended up peaking at number 6 on the Hot 100. 19 songs off this album ended up on that same Hot 100 list, with 23 in Canada. Now for the big one. In February of 2021, TMZ released a video of Morgan Wallen using racial slurs with his friends after a night of drinking. The video in question shows him and his friends on private property at the end of the night and by themselves using this inappropriate language. I remember watching that video on Twitter right after it was released. The consensus was that his career was basically finished. This footage, which looks like it was recorded by a neighbor on accident, was probably going to destroy his career. SiriusXM, iHeartRadio, and a bunch of stations chose to pull his music from airplay. The big three, Apple Music, Pandora, and Spotify, pulled songs from the curated playlist. CMT and the CMAs pulled his performances, and his label gave him an indefinite suspension. This absolutely massive success of an album was no longer eligible for the 56th annual CMAs. But in a bizarre and unsettling twist of fate, Morgan Wallen became more popular than ever. His album sales and streams ended up surging. Despite being canceled on social media, suspended from his label, and removed from any awards, this artist managed to become the biggest name in country music at the time. The phrase, "any publicity is good publicity," is very fitting here. The album ended up becoming the best-selling album of 2021. So how does this even happen? In most cases, the smallest incident would tank a promising career. So how does Morgan Wallen end up gaining 50,000 more Twitter followers after committing one of the most cancelable sins? Similar to how when an artist dies and their songs blow up, the news coverage instantly sparks curiosity out of most. I was in that same boat. Also, it could be a cultural issue. Most country listeners are probably white, which means they're far less likely to be offended by this particular incident. But looking at Eric Church, his popularity definitely took a nosedive after speaking out about gun control, which I still see people hating on him today about that. Also, Morgan Wallen handled the entire situation very well. He ended up publicly apologizing, attending counseling, and donating a considerable amount of money to causes that he felt were impacted by his words. All things considered, he did the best he could to make things right. So what do you think? How far does an artist have to go to make you think, "I'm putting the headphones down"? Should there even be a limit? For me, the reflection mostly comes about how we treat celebrities. These people are far from perfect, living under a microscope and prone to failure. If we give them such a godlike status, they are bound to fail us all the time, just like people around us do. Those same people around us won't even get a fraction of the hate that a celebrity will for doing the same crime. What do you think about the situation? I believe Morgan Wallen has a record-breaking career ahead, and it seems like it might be untouchable. Let me know what you think in the comments, and take care.